The longest offseason in the history of American organized sports at the collegiate level has finally ended. It is game week. There is BRM. There is PMFF. We are both here to talk to you guys about Virginia Tech versus South Carolina. Before we do that, this is the Chick-fil-A kickoff, Aflac kickoff, happening in Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta. It's going to be huge. We're excited about it. A lot of history. Two big things that we have to get out of the way. Number one, Taylor Swift is engaged to Travis Kelce. Congratulations. Number two, the mob has won. They have bent the knee. The Cracker Barrel logo is back. Welcome back, Cracker Barrel. And welcome back, Pat. Good to see you, my friend. How are you?
Good to be back. Good to be back. Is this our sixth season of the Sons of Saturday podcast? Yes. This would be, 2019, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Seventh season.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Seventh season of football. Hoping to break the 8-win threshold for just the, second time in 7 years. Also, wondering if the Cracker Barrel lady, is she still employed? Did she keep her job? What do you think happened there? I don't know what happened. I haven't seen any news on it yet, but I did just see Cracker Barrel came back, and that's certainly interesting. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Did you think their engagement was going to happen during game week? I saw them stealing headlines before college football started. I said, wait, we got to record this podcast, but the only thing that we have on the news feed is this engagement, which teed up Billy Ray for some exquisite memery.
No, that's true. I saw some takes that it was insensitive of Travis to do this because it was during the same day that final cuts were. But yeah, the Taylor Swift world is crazy. It really is. I will say, just because I'm about to ask you about what you're wearing, I am wearing the Virginia Tech Hokies Belk Bowl sweatshirt. Why am I wearing that? The Belk Bowl was the last time that Virginia Tech beat an SEC opponent. They defeated Arkansas. They defeated them in Charlotte at Bank of America Stadium. It was freezing. We all understand where Virginia Tech, well, if you're from South Carolina, you may not. Virginia Tech has not won an out-of-conference Power 5 football game since 2017. That is against the West Virginia Mountaineers. That happened at FedEx Field. It is incredibly embarrassing, and we are hoping that this can end in the first 2 weeks of this football season. Hopefully, this upcoming weekend. So that is why I'm wearing this. What do you got going on? Some Peter Millar vertical lines? What's going on here?
Dude, why would I be wearing Peter Millar when I could wear Rowback?
Oh, I haven't seen that one. What name is that?
It kind of looks like a convict shirt. It's kind of got that black and white jailhouse. This is actually like a dark navy. I'm not sure which one this is.
No, it's good that you're rooting for Miami and the Catholics versus convicts. Right after our game, we need the ACC to show well. I love that.
I was reading up on some old Lou Holtz lore while looking up some Hokie history and learning more about South Carolina, because Lou Holtz did coach at South Carolina, but there was a funny comment he made about the Catholics versus convicts game when he was coaching at Notre Dame. He says, that's really not fair to our players at Notre Dame because not all of them are Catholic. It's really not fair that they call it that game. So I thought that was pretty funny. Rocking the Rowback right now, 20% off. Did you know, Billy Ray, there is some new Virginia Tech merchandise coming out? What, 2 days? Thursday?
2 days. 2 days. If you're a South Carolina fan, if you're a Clemson fan, if you have a JMU fan in your life, they have a ton of licensing that they got done over the season. Use code Saturday for 20% off your order of Rowback. Without further ado,
black Virginia Tech hoodie,
it's gonna be very sweet. It would be behooved of you to get on that. Before we transition to South Carolina and the game, I do want to ask you, because it's been a minute. You're leaving this offseason. If you're carrying 2 or 3 things away from this offseason that you are burned into your brain, what are they?
There's certainly 2, and they're probably the most recent things that happened within the last week. It was an everlasting battle on X. Jake Malisic. Stop being a, what is it?
Gatekeeper.
Porch pirate. Stop stealing everything off of the Barstool front porch that's logoed with a VT. And then our VT equipment department, they brought in the big guns and they threw out 3 boxes.
Yeah.
You can't steal 3 big boxes like that. 3 big boxes, 3 helmets. And John Gruden says, "Hey, Jake, you're never going to believe this, man." He rolls in.
Dude, you have better impressions than John Gruden.
I'll tell you what, man, Richard Sherman, they call him Control-Alt-Delete. So he rolls in there. That was an incredible 6 minutes and whatever seconds video. My mom was like, "That was amazing. Love this content. Love this marketing for Virginia Tech." I agree, Mom. Mm-hmm. It was awesome. He might have cue cards. There might be some cue cards behind Jake that John Gruden was looking up at. He was like, how does he know that Coach Beamer's won 238 games?
I picked up on that too. When he's looking over like to the right, and he's like, this guy, man. And you're like, wow, this guy either is unbelievable with this stuff or he's got to have some cue cards. And I wouldn't even be mad at him if he had the cue cards. Like, I actually think it would be kind of cool that he knew that much. But it was crazy. It was crazy the amount of schools that we got before we got to Virginia Tech. I mean, the Roanoke Maroons, shout out our guy Steiny. They had a box go over there, VMI. And also, best of luck to Coach Steiny this year. First year of football in Roanoke College, I believe. So shout out to them. I'm really fired up for them.
I was checking my Instagram notifications like 3 days ago. Follow request on my personal Instagram from Brian Steinspring. I was like, this is the best day ever. I was like, shout out Daniel. Daniel Steinspring and I were in class.
Danny's the man. Danny's the man. If you get a chance, please subscribe, leave a comment. And the comment challenge today is I am going to refer to South Carolina as South Carolina people refer to it as. And what I've learned is they say Sat Carolina. It's almost like you say Sat Carolina. So Sat Carolina. I'm going to try to say that the whole time. Please, any of you South Carolina fans, give me a grade on my overall pronunciation on it.
First haiku of the season, I actually made 2 here tonight. I don't think we saw any from Pete McGee. Pete, we will get you in post-game for the Monday pod. Beamer Bowl at Ben's. Prize gotta make it happen. The Shane train stops here.
Well done.
And then this one, I thought, this one was a little different. Sandman versus Sandstorm. Aflac kickoff with 2 birds. Both stones thrown at Cox. Kill 2 cocks with 1 stone. This is inferring that there's 2 stones. So you're kind of like, I don't get it, but that's what we're doing.
Some of the alliterations and bowl names for this game have been just outright hilarious. We're 9 minutes into this, and I listened to a couple serious previews. You're going to get some good information, but we're going to have some fun along the way. That is what's going to happen. Let's talk some Hokie history real quick. Close your eyes, and I want you to think about the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of South Carolina. I have mine. South Carolina. I have mine. What's yours?
Palm trees.
Oh, no, just one thing. Not like a mood board. One thing.
One thing. Steve Spurrier.
Okay. Mine was the Jadeveon Clowney hit on Denard Robinson in I believe it was the Outback Bowl. In terms of famous alumni, before I turn it over to you,
didn't know that was
Darius Rucker, Mike Coulter from Marvel, Kyle Carpenter, Medal of Honor recipient, absolute stud. Was very surprised by this one. Charlie Weiss went to South Carolina. Every bit of him went to South Carolina. Jackie Bradley Jr., beloved by the state of Virginia. Lindsey Graham, some of you will love him, some of you won't. And then Elle Fanning, who was number one.
Who loves Lindsey Graham?
That's a good point. So, okay. Everyone's going to have an opinion. It's not going to be overwhelmingly positive. Thanks. Good call out. Good call out.
Respectfully.
And then Elle Fanning, who was listed as the number one alumni. This is no disrespect to Elle Fanning, but I was like, wow, like she must be super famous. Like, what does she do? She's Dakota Fanning's sister. I don't know. I don't know if I would put her over Darius Rucker and Mike Coulter, but all due respect to the Fannings. But let's talk about South Carolina. South Carolina, know your foe, Pat. Get us fully dipped.
I wouldn't hate it if listed on Virginia Tech's notable alumni page, it said Pat Finn, Brian Finn's brother. Just saying. So, Brian, the opportunity is there for you. You got two major public research universities here with sizable undergraduate populations. You got Virginia Tech, just under 30,000. South Carolina, 27.5 roughly population on campus. You could call them one of the flagship institutions in their states. A lot of regional pride with both of these. You're not getting South Carolina fans in Florida. You're not getting, unless they're retirees, you're not getting South Carolina fans in California or Texas unless, they probably went to South Carolina. Similar to Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech sends a lot of folks from the RVA 804 down to South Carolina. If you're a deep run Wildcat listening to this phone call right now, probably like, hey, I got 16 friends who went to South Carolina. They're good people. We're excited for this game. We're going to tailgate with them. Hopefully at our tailgate on Sunday. But both of these teams have the bird-inspired mascot. You got the Hokie bird, very spirited on the turkey side. You got cocky, more so feisty. You got that bravado, high energy. You ever watch that 2001 entrance with Sandstorm? Cocky's in behind the bars looking all fired up. Like, he's kind of fun. Slightly intimidating, maybe.
He does that two-handed mouth thing where he with his beak. It's an interesting situation. It's very funny. Two bird adjacent mascots, but very different personalities. When the Hokie bird's walking around, it's, hey guys, good to see you. When it's cocky, he's over there like, I'm gonna peck your face off. Looks like he's a cockfighter. The cock jokes are not going to stop. Sorry to derail you, though. Continue, please.
Someone's going to clip that. The cocky does not look anything like the Gamecock logo. The Gamecock logo kind of just looks like a blob, just like a little red blob. Hokie bird logo, as you guys can see right there, looks a lot more like our guy, the Hokie bird. I mentioned this. Enter Sandman versus Sandstorm both have some of the better entrances in all of college football. I think
you've been to both.
I think the objective fan would say Enter Sandman is better. I think both are electric at night. Both are definitely a lot better at night than during the day. What else we got here?
What was your South Carolina? I'm not going to continue to say it like that. I've said it. South Carolina is how you guys say it. I'm just going to have to correct myself every time, so I'm going to stop trying to make fetch happen. When you went to Columbia, what game did you went to a good game, didn't you?
I went with Courtney and John, and this was like the Dan Mullen game. This was like the scouting Dan Mullen game when he was still at Florida. And this was also the scouting Jason Brown game because Jason Brown was the quarterback at South Carolina, and he had like a career night this night. And South Carolina crushed Florida. Early November, fun atmosphere, very old stadium. Like, you go down in those bleachers. We're in the 100 level, I think we're on the South Carolina side. And those bleachers are just like, it's an old stadium. It's not metal. It's like those wooden older bleachers. Ton of fun. Would love to go back. They have the cock booths, I think, where they have like a big train set up by the stadium. They have these massive tailgates up there. They have a great tailgating scene in general. I know the Greek life is pretty big. Never went down there for visiting anyone in the Greek community, but I know that's a good, fun part of the culture down at South Carolina. Williams-Brice Stadium holds 77,559 people on a sellout. Fun facts about South Carolina. South Carolina has been in the SEC since 1992. Before they were in the SEC, they actually spent 17 years in the ACC. And South Carolina only has one outright conference championship in its entire history, believe it or not. It is an ACC championship in 1959. They won a couple other championships. They won a SoCon championship. They won like a share of an ACC, but very much share driven. They shared with Duke way back when.
59 or 69?
69 is when they won it outright.
There you go.
They have a Heisman winner, George Rodgers, running back, drafted first overall, Heisman in the year 1980. And some of their best years were under Steve Spurrier about 15 years ago, had a couple 10, 11-win seasons, won the SEC East one of those years. And that's kind of like the high water mark of South Carolina football. Coach Spurrier going in there, they went like 11-2. They won the SEC East. Coach Spurrier did great things in Columbia, as the head ball coach did.
Correct me if I'm wrong. So I'm pretty sure that the year that they won the SEC East was the year that they went against LSU, that Tyrann Mathieu year. And I'll say one other thing about South Carolina. Very similar to Virginia Tech, there are certain teams that when they're on television, you feel like you always pull for that team. Like you have an opinion, right? There are teams that will play and I'll be like, I'm automatically rooting for them. I hope they lose. South Carolina is a team where like they're on TV, unless they're playing a team that I enjoy, I'm probably rooting for South Carolina. That's just my opinion.
I think that's fair. I think a lot of that reason is rooted in the fact that they've never been at the top. So it's easy to pull for them because they've always been more of an underdog in the SEC. They've had some great teams. They've had some great talent, but they're definitely more on the bottom half of the SEC when you think about the whole picture. And, they've been a one SEC championship ever. But I like their colors. Speaking of, they did just sign a 10-year Nike deal. They were on with Under Armour for close to 10 years. This deal is beginning July 1st, 2026. So this should be their last year with Under Armour. It's a multi-layered deal. So they get $70 million guaranteed in product, $5 million in cash, $2.5 million in supplemental product. And I thought this was interesting. 15% of their net sales on all co-branded South Carolina Nike gear, they'll get 15% of that. Under Armour had an opportunity to match, but declined. So South Carolina in Nike threads should be a new look. Under Armour really had captured probably 12.5 programs, 10 plus years ago during that wave. They got Notre Dame, they got Wisconsin,
Tennessee,
Auburn, UCLA.
Yeah. Not Tennessee.
Tennessee's Adidas.
Maryland,
naturally, Navy. But some other things about this game. This is the 21st matchup all time with South Carolina. First meeting since 1991. So it's been over 34 years. First meeting since we've ever been alive. And South Carolina won that game in 1991 in Columbia. The Gamecocks lead the series 11-7-2 over 20 games. So you got 2 ties in there. Not much that we can pull out from Hokie history here that was super notable or relevant, but we did crush South Carolina 34-0 in the 1905 game. The Gamecocks were quoted praising Virginia Tech for the pleasant trip and the positive Hokie hospitality offered by Virginia Tech. So
where did you even find that? Where did you find that? Where did you find that nugget?
I did some deep dives in Grok.
I'm sure you did, dude.
Pulled that out of Grok. 1905. So good to know that Virginia Tech still, 120 years later, is still offering that positive Hokie hospitality.
Incredible. 1991, Coach Beamer, the Frank version, was perusing the sidelines for the Hokies. One more thing before we move to storylines. The voice of the Cox rocks. His name is Todd Ellis. And I'm sure that you've heard him before. He sounds a lot like Daughtry if Daughtry was calling a football game. Rocket Sanders stumbled into the end zone, touchdown Gamecocks. He sounds like that.
So you're saying when you're saying when the game goes into overtime, he's like, "It's not over."
Yes, dude.
Or when South Carolina loses in the SEC championship, I'm going home. That's more of like a March Madness, like first round exit. It's tough.
If you know who I'm talking about, man, Todd Ellis does rock, and Pat, that was very funny. Let's kick it on over to storylines. This one's such an easy one, but you got to play the hits. I mean, you got to play them.
So, Shane Beamer played at Virginia Tech. Shane's dad, statue of that guy. Without that guy, Billy Ray, right there, doesn't go to Virginia Tech. Me, I don't go to Virginia Tech. I don't know if my dad would have planned so many trips back to Blacksburg like he did during that big stretch because of the king of Blacksburg, Frank Beamer. Mm-hmm. People also forget that Shane Beamer was on the team that played in the national championship. He was a long snapper in New Orleans.
I want to say this, and this is largely angled at South Carolina fans. First of all, I want to say I love Shane. So Shane was at Tech when I was there my first 2 years, and he's a player's coach. He has an amazing grasp of social media. Him and his team do such a great job at social media and has a galvanizing personality. But I'll be completely honest. When he took this job, I was very dubious and quite honestly doubtful of his ability to succeed there. And it had less to do with his ability to be a good coach. It was more about South Carolina's expectations combined with how difficult it is to win at South Carolina. And I have to tip my cap to the job that he's done. Like a marvelous, marvelous job, knocking Tennessee out of the playoff. What he did last year, the way that he's recruiting there, as much as it pains me to say how well he's recruiting the state of Virginia and South Carolina and winning. Taking that job, you're probably like, man, you have to play Clemson every single year. He's handled that fine. So I really am so impressed and so happy for him that he has done such a great job at South Carolina. There's our guy. Pat's pointing to him on the YouTube. Man, he is awesome, and he is such a good fit there. And I've been rooting for him ever since he's gotten there. So I also got to say Torian Gray is also at South Carolina, Virginia Tech legend. He was the captain of DBU, doing the recruiting, doing the talking, doing the teaching. Really, really good coach. Ask anybody. They always said that he was fantastic. And then lastly, two guys that I love and one guy that Georgia Tech hates, and that's Jeff Collins. Jeff Collins is on this staff. I'm not sure if Under Armour has the correct cut of khaki for our boy, but he is on staff. Pat, any thoughts on Shane?
I actually have a lot of thoughts on Shane that I didn't put in the notes, but just from he is appointment television. I watch every Shane Beamer press conference.
Yes.
Post game and then midweek leading up to the game. It is he is just funny. He does not try to be funny, but the way that his expressions, how his face lights up, how his eyes get big, it's really just exciting to watch, and it makes him easy to root for against, a very daunting SEC schedule. So, when they went and beat Tennessee and Clemson back-to-back a few years ago, and that was, Hendon Hooker, Tennessee, I couldn't feel happier for the guy, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Shane replaced Coach Beamer during that Military Bowl in 2014. Shane was the head coach. I think Coach Beamer was up in the box. He had a health thing going on, and Shane got the win. Shane doctored up this punching bag on a stick for the running backs, and that was just a hilarious meme for several years when Shane Beamer was in Blacksburg coaching running backs. Shane Beamer's.
So I'm going to give you some ball knowledge here. Do you know what that is?
I don't know what it is, and I didn't read the article. I know someone's shared.
No, it's fine. I mean, the article wasn't about it. Just so that is actually, it's a stick, and then they have a like electrical tape or duct tape, and it's a football. So it's a multi-use tool. Coaches can use it as like the hook and move the ball when you want the guys to go, and they can also use it to beat the piss out of their running backs and get them to hold on to the football. So fun fact, that is what that is. It's a football attached to a stick with duct tape.
I want to know if it is still in use in Columbia today. Running backs coach at South Carolina is running around like that, because that is honestly like some college football lore. So funny. The fun fact, Shane Beamer, my freshman year, my sophomore year, Billy Ray, you were probably on this recruiting trip. Like Rashawn, it was the recruiting trip that Rashawn Gary was visiting Blacksburg. It was a junior.
I brought him there. Yeah.
It was a junior day. It was February, like 2014, maybe. And this massive guy and Shane Beamer, and obviously every other, junior who is walking around getting a tour of the locker room. And my dad happened to be giving us a tour of some of the facilities as well. I think we were with Coach Brizendine, soccer team. And Shane paused, chatted with him for a few minutes, could not have been nicer, even though he's hosting a ton of recruits at the moment. He's just a great guy and truly is an epitomizer of what Virginia Tech is as well. So I root for him, and I know there's the whole conversation of him coaching in Blacksburg. If that ever was an opportunity, what have you, what was meant to be, what was meant to be. I don't really know if I can weigh in on that. But I also do think he's done a great job with, again, his social media stuff. Like that one Christmas episode where he went out to midfield and they had the LED lights and he was like orchestrating like Carol of the Bells or something.
Yep.
And the whole stadium was like flickering red and maybe green too.
Soldier Boy.
The Soldier Boy Turn My Swag On dance. He was just doing some TikTok dances with his daughter like a few weeks ago. They've done some stuff for SEC Media Days. They've done some stuff with ESPN. He's done like an Office video spoof. He's done a Halloween spoof. Like he's just if I'm a coach, I'd probably want to play for this guy. Mm-hmm. Most notably known recently for the outburst on the sidelines during the Citrus Bowl. The Brett Bielema was doing the the taunting, and Brett later just tweeted at him after that game, "Happy New Year," and I know that was a big deal for the Gamecock fans. But enough about Shane. I'm not going to stop gushing about him. I do like him a lot, but not
love him
Sunday.
Love Shane. I was also blamed for Rashawn Gary not coming to Virginia Tech, by the way, which was pretty hilarious. You can find that on one of the boards somewhere. But anyway, next point. This hype train is really familiar. It's very familiar territory. They were a 9-win team last year. Just missed the playoff. Look, I'm not taking anything away from what South Carolina did last year. They're plus 570 for the playoff. Sellers is plus 1,800 for the Heisman. They put the stat out. They were the most watched team on the Netflix documentary. This just reminds me so much of where Virginia Tech was last year. Hey, we're bringing some of these guys back. We were pretty good last year. Granted, they were better than us last year than we were 2 years ago. But it feels very much like coming into this game from the national media. It is a foregone conclusion that Virginia Tech is going to pull their pants down and receive a spanking in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Dome. Like that is kind of like what everybody's saying. Very similar to how the Commodores were supposed to receive a spanking from the Hokies week 1 in Nashville. So I can't help but feel those similarities there. And I also want to say this, and it's not necessarily his fault because he's not a coach that's on the hot seat, but I don't know if there's a coach in college football under more pressure, situational pressure, than Shane Beamer is under this year. Because again, he's not on the hot seat. if he loses this game, he's not in the playoffs. But you have a Heisman hopeful team. Everybody thinks you're going to be really good. You're going against your dad's old school team in Atlanta. Your dad's going to be there. It's the same AD that either passed you up or didn't pass you. It is the brightest possible light is shining on our guy Shane. And it's an interesting spot for him.
They did just miss the playoff. I don't know if I would call it controversial. I think if you're a Homer South Carolina fan, it's controversial, but I think I didn't lose any sleep over South Carolina not getting in. They were definitely one of the hottest teams in the country in December last year. And they did beat Clemson, who eventually made the playoff, de facto ACC champs. They went 5-3 in conference. Big wins over A&M. I'm even going to call a win over Vandy a big win last year. Vandy had a good football team last year. Not everyone could say they beat Vandy. They beat Mizzou.
Should have beaten LSU. If you want to lose sleep about something, it's the officiating in the LSU game. I think that has to be said, and that drove me crazy too, South Carolina fans. So I thought they were absolutely robbed of that win.
They lost that Citrus Bowl to Illinois and Brett Bielema. Big Brett. We've seen Brett at a bowl game. Belk Bowl.
Big Brett
on your chest. Yeah. They are ranked number 13 in the AP Top 25 and number 17 in the Bill Connolly SP Plus rankings. Virginia Tech, for context, is number 42 in the SP Plus heading into 2025. Shane Beamer is 25-13 since 2022. So for South Carolina standards, that is I would say that is above average, right? That's better than 7-5. That's kind of at an 8-4 clip. Seat never cools down in this conference, as you guys know. Had a lot of turnover issues last year. South Carolina lost 14 fumbles in 2024, which was the third most in all of the FBS. And I wrote in all caps, lots of irony here with the punching bag on a stick. The playoff odds, they are plus 570 for the playoff. Favorable schedule, comparable to what it could be in the SEC, but they don't have they don't have Texas. They don't have Georgia. They still have to play Clemson out of conference, and then they still have to play LSU, Ole Miss, Oklahoma in conference. So I kind of say favorable as a tongue-in-cheek comment because they don't have to play Bama or Georgia or Texas.
As we get into the preview for both teams, I guess I'll just wrap with this. They're certainly a good team. They had a great year last year. They have two sure things. Ty Hildebrand came on from Solid Verbal and said this. Lenoris Sellers and Dylan Stewart are two huge reasons to be excited about this football team. Outside of that, it's a whole lot of not sure yet. And we're going to get into kind of the specifics in the different positions there. But to say that Virginia Tech has no chance to win this game, I think is absolutely preposterous, given the amount of change that there are on both sides. And honestly, South Carolina almost lost to Old Dominion last year, and Virginia Tech did lose to Vanderbilt last year. So we have seen crazier things. There is one other thing here in terms of storylines. Caleb Woodson, just going to present the facts. He was arrested for a DWI this past Saturday. It was addressed by Coach Pry. It was talked about by Kyron. It was talked about by Kelvin Gilliam. We got this question from Steve Bryce. He said, if you're Pry, do you suspend Caleb for the first game, or do you act like a big boy program and steamroll through any bad PR and play him the first two games, knowing you need an early win to get the Wolves off your back in the early season? This guy knows how to craft together a tweet. I'll tell you what. My opinion on this matter is Caleb Woodson knows what he did was stupid. I don't think that he needs people letting him know that, but that is what happens when something like this goes down. And ultimately, it's not our decision on what to do. The university has rules. The coaching staff has more context into the situation and probably the player and person that he's been day to day. So I just, it's unavoidable, but I think the rage tweeting of @WhipBabcock, do not suspend Caleb Woodson this week, or you're a coward, or the flip side of that. I think all of that dialogue is extremely silly. And I don't want to get lost on, there are two things. A very stupid decision was made, and it should be a lesson for everybody. And on the flip side, we have all made stupid decisions. So that is news. Caleb Woodson, DWI this past Saturday. It is frustrating.
Let me read the godfather of Virginia Tech football, the voice of reason, as many know him as. Who am I going to read? Whose tweet am I going to read right now?
Is this Dwight Vick or Lester? Okay.
I'm going to say this about Caleb Woodson. Hold off on your judgments. There's a lot more to this story, many more times than just a tweet. Some of your favorite Hokies, NFL players, and others have experienced legal issues like this. I know trolling is part of the game, especially for those who need likes and attention. But don't be so quick to say what needs to happen to a young man when the legal process isn't even completed. Due process. So Dwight Vick, the voice of reason, as we've been calling him for years here on this show.
Fair enough. Got to avoid situations like that. I'll leave it at that. And I hope it's a lesson for him, and I hope it's a lesson for everybody else. So I will leave it at that. We don't know what Virginia Tech is going to do. We're not going to tweet at the AD or Tim Sands to make a decision.
Tim Sands. Another story.
Yeah.
Do we talk about Dylan Stewart? I mean, I think we do need to give our flowers to Dylan Stewart. But
let's save it for defense when we preview the defense, because he's going to headline the defense. Getting into the game overall, it is a huge bummer that this game is not at one of the fields. Period. It's a bummer this isn't at Lane. It's a bummer this isn't at Williams-Brice. Been fantastic if it was, but it's not. It is in the. I'm just gonna call it the Georgia Dome, because I'm not gonna call it the Mercedes-Benz Dome. RIP the Georgia Dome. Tickets are very expensive, which is a bit of a bummer. But I have been in the Mercedes Dome. It is very cool. Can't imagine that it's going to be close to sold out. Just hope that we see a good football game. But neutral site games are an atrocity, and I wish that we did them less. Anything else before we get to the offense?
Here's the good news about the neutral site. The Gamecocks are 0-3 in their last 3 neutral site appearances, dating back to 2022. So even though Shane Beamer has kind of had like a nice little run here the last couple seasons, they lost the Citrus Bowl, aforementioned, to Brett Bielema in Illinois. They lost the season opener at Bank of America in 2023 in Charlotte to North Carolina, 31-17. They lost the 2022 Gator Bowl to Notre Dame, 45-38. I might have to fact check that real quick. There might be one in between, because I think I'm missing one of their bowl games. But I will say that Virginia Tech's last neutral win was the 2023 Military Bowl. Brent Pry, 1-1 in neutral games. Something's got to give here, BRM.
40 minutes in. Let's talk about the teams. Let's do it. Guys, this is week 1. And here's the good news. Here's the good news, okay? Those last 40 minutes were fun, and we don't know a whole lot about these teams. Again, you have 2 new coordinators at Virginia Tech. You have 1 new coordinator over at South Carolina. There's new everywhere. And to get on here and pretend that we know what it's going to look like 100% would be foolish. But we are going to give you what we have, and it's tailored for both teams. So let's go. I'm going to give you Virginia Tech first. Key departures for the Hokies. Bashal Tootin, he's playing for the Jaguars, who's drafted in the 4th round. Jalen Lane, Commanders, 4th round as well. Maybe the most underutilized Hokie in recent memory. It makes you want to bash my head into a concrete wall. Stephen Gosnell, he has been the camp sweetheart for the Buffalo Bills. They are literally calling him White Steve. If you don't know him, he is white, and we used to call him Country Steve. But now he is on the Bills, and he led the team in receiving last year, which was a bit of a surprise to everybody. 2 transfers that are notable here. Xavier Chaplin transferred to Auburn. He is in what do they call it over there? The flats or something. They have some weird names.
The Plains.
The Plains. Yeah, that's right. I don't know why they call it that. And then Braylon Moore, an interior offensive lineman, he transferred to LSU. So that is where they are. As far as newcomers are concerned, Cam Seldon. I heard a South Carolina podcast refer to him and his utilization very similar to Deebo Samuel, which I agree with. He was playing a little bit of running back in the spring, playing a little wide receiver in the fall camp. So excited to see what that looks like. Donovan Green. He is a transfer from Wake Forest. He is the best recruit that Wake Forest ever signed, and he could not stay healthy. And to this point, he has not had any injuries. If he can stay healthy, that would be huge. Ole Miss also really wanted Donovan Green, but we beat him out for him. I know Kyron played a big hand in that. Running back, Terrion Stort. He's from Bowling Green. He is impossible to tackle, and we are thrilled that he's on this football team. And then you also have Marcellus Hawkins, who has surprised everybody in fall camp. Coach has been raving about this guy. For my money, I think he's running back too. Offensive line is going to look completely different. It has to look completely different because it was a complete disaster last year. We have a new offensive line coach. His name is Matt Moore. He came from West Virginia, and he brought his buddies, Kyle Altuner, who was a freshman, and Thomas Remack, who was an all-conference player over at West Virginia. We also brought in from the transfer portal Jaden Muskrat. Tough name. And this is not a transfer from last year, but Montavious Cunningham transferred in last year and couldn't break into the lineup, which was a little bit peculiar. And I'm just going to leave it at, I think that might be on the offensive line coach that he did not break in. I'm really excited to watch Montavious Cunningham play this year. Questions that we will have answered for the Hokies, because I can't answer them for you because we have not played football yet. Can Virginia Tech run the ball given the loss of Bashal Tutin? We were a one-man band last year and heinous at running the football when Bashal Tutin was not back there. That is because our offensive line was not good and our backs behind them couldn't make chicken salad out of chicken doo-doo. And that was the situation at hand. Another question that's kind of related. Can Virginia Tech run the ball on an SEC defense? It's a question we're going to have answered right here on Sunday, and then they'll have to do it again the next week. And then lastly, this one's really, can Virginia Tech protect the quarterback? Not protecting the quarterback got our quarterback hurt last year. Not protecting the quarterback, I think really affected his confidence and overall our passing game in general. So hoping that we can solve those problems. South Carolina. Pat, you had this one assigned, but I did want to weigh in on this. They have a new offensive coordinator. His name is Mike Shula. We also have a new offensive coordinator. His name is Pat Montgomery, and he
Philip Montgomery.
Sorry. Philip Montgomery was the offensive coordinator for RG3 when he won his Heisman at Baylor. He was also the head coach at Tulsa. So he's the new offensive coordinator for the Hokies. The new offensive coordinator for South Carolina is Mike Shula. Yes, this is Don Shula's son. He has been coaching football since 1988. That is a very long time. He also was the head coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide from 2003 to 2006. Thought that was a little bit of a fun fact. It's also the last time that he coached college football before being a quality control offensive analyst specialist guy for South Carolina last year. Woo! How was that, Pat? That was pretty good.
I had no idea that a former Alabama head coach was on this staff.
I know.
I mean, you had a lot of good nuggets in this podcast so far, Billy. Right?
Oh yeah,
we're finding out that Charlie Weiss went to South Carolina.
All of them, dude. All of Charlie Weiss.
Every bit.
That's a lot.
Out that Lou Holtz and Mike Shula were coaching in the SEC at the same time. Different divisions. Lou Holtz was coaching South Carolina while Mike Shula was coaching at Alabama. Departure from this offense. They lost a couple key linemen to graduation or the NFL. They also lost a key running back departure. Rocket Sanders, Raheem Sanders, actually just happened to be released by the Los Angeles Chargers 6 hours ago, reported by On3.
Look at you.
They do have some talent on their team, though. We've talked about Lenore Sellers, 18 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, awesome rec specs. Can he really throw the football? Can he throw the football, or is he just a running man show? Is this like the Tyrod Taylor? Like, people are like, hey, can Tyrod throw the ball? He kind of has a hitch. And then, Tyrod's development, he became quite a lethal passer. Lenore Sellers, that Clemson game last year, that LSU game last year, watching him elude defensive linemen, absolutely incredible.
He is an unreal player. Like, I want to take nothing away from Lenore Sellers. I also really like his personality. On the Netflix special, he's awesome to listen to. I love his story. I love his background. But again, you're almost put in a position. The hype has been so much that it almost like leads you to be like, all right, like, come on. We had even Shane himself was like, I've been around some good quarterbacks. I was around Michael Vick, and Lenore Sellers is a good quarterback. I'm like, all right, like, what are you doing?
You're calling him a dark horse. Is he a dark horse for a Heisman when everyone is talking about this guy?
He's like a glowing horse.
What quarterback from the last 20 years do you think Lenore Sellers reminds you of when you talk about a guy known for his athletic ability and running first, but not really sure about the passing? Because there's one that sticks out in my mind right now, and he was equally hyped up, in my opinion.
Man, can you give me a conference?
We already said his name on this show, on this very podcast. Big Ten. And Virginia Tech played against him in a bowl game.
I don't know.
Denard Robinson.
Oh, Denard Robinson. But he's bigger than Denard Robinson, though. That's the thing. He's a big.
I understand that, and I know he's harder to tackle than Denard Robinson. Denard Robinson was extremely fast, probably a little quicker, a little more shifty. But I think when comparing the passing accolades, I think they're kind of similar.
Yeah. Good comp. It's the biggest question mark about his game. There's no question between the ears. Like, he's an awesome leader for this team. There's no question that he's a supreme athlete. There's no question that he has that it factor. Just the combination of the losses that they have seen across their team, for them to have the same results or better results, Lenore Sellers will need to not just be as good as he was last year, but be better, combined with the fact that he's not sneaking up on teams this year. You see, the sophomore slump very often in baseball and in football is not always just like, oh, he's a sophomore, so he's going to regress. It's, oh, everybody has seen what their tendencies are, seen how they like to play, and then is more prepared to prepare for that person they're going against. So, I mean, sons of pumping up the egos here. It's just been crazy. The hype train has been wild.
So many parallels to Virginia Tech 2024. Not to this level, though, of course. South Carolina was 129th in QB sack percentage last year. They had a quarterback sacked every single game except 2. 11% of dropbacks. Sellers was sacked last year. Nick Harbor will be their best playmaker on offense, exclusive of Lenore Sellers. Nick Harbor, that's NYCK. In 2024, he had 376 receiving yards, 28 yards per game, 3 touchdowns. Rising star, 17.6 yards per catch. They also have sophomore tight end Michael Smith, former 4-star, red zone target. 10 catches, 106 yards, 1 touchdown last year in his freshman season. But he should
Michael Smith is such a tight end name. That is a tight end name.
Could not agree more. You're not a Michael Smith skinny guy. Like you're just
no. And you have a good handshake for sure.
Without a doubt. They brought in Rasul Faison from Utah State. He was cleared to play by the NCAA within the last 36 hours. This guy is in his 7th year of eligibility. We are approaching Tyrell Smith levels of eligibility with this guy, and he is ready to play. 1,100 yards on the ground, 8 touchdowns on 198 carries, 5.6 yards per carry. Also a threat out of the backfield, 22 catches for 99 yards last year. Faison, not to be confused with Brandon Faison, different spelling, ranked 4th in the Mountain West last year with 92 rushing yards per game, had 5 100-yard games, and a big-time game versus Hawaii, 2 touchdowns, 191 yards as well. Just got his waiver on August 25th, and he was the number 4 running back in the 2025 transfer portal per 24/7 Sports as well.
I have a take on the 7th years and the NIL deals, and I'm actually defending Faison here. It's very funny to see how many people have opinions on how players need to get on Indeed, get on LinkedIn, Glassdoors, sign up. Maybe you should spend more time on outbound phone calls or prospecting than criticizing a person for doing exactly what we all would do. If I am Rasul Faison and South Carolina is like, hey, brother, here's a bag. Come play running back. I know you've been enjoying your time at Utah State. Get ready to learn Sandstorm, buddy. Who's not doing that? I certainly am doing that. So I think it's very funny that people don't hate the player, hate the game. I am not pro 7 years in college on people's dimes, but
let my guy have fun. And he's a talented dude, 4.4 speed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Powerful dude, 98 missed tackles for us last year.
Yeah, he's going to be a good player for them. That is a huge get for them late. They also have Isaiah. I was thinking of Zach August from Notre Dame. That just gave me flashbacks to being in Key West and that guy just destroying us in the ACC tournament. Isaiah Augustov at running back. He's going to be their second back. He's a transfer from Colorado. And their offensive line is massive. Their projected starters are all over 325 pounds. That is very large. That is a large human, for the exception of one in Josiah Thompson, who is a 6'7" sophomore. I don't know what Shane is feeding them. But I mean, they might be feeding them Brett Bielema is how big they all are.
They're feeding him Charlie Weiss for breakfast, Brett for lunch, Mark Mangino for dinner.
Going next.
Most of the line is tenured too. They don't have from the line. They don't know, they have some newcomers, but this is very much an SEC offensive line. So there will be some holes for Rasul and Lenoris to run through on Sunday.
Flipping it over to the defense. Again, it is very difficult to pin down who we are and what we will be. Here's what I do know. Last year was a travesty. Sheldon Moss shared this stat on the season preview with Boundary Corner, which was hilarious. If you have a chance to go listen to it. Hilarious and informative. I didn't want to make it sound like comedy hour, but there was plenty of comedy. It was very funny. We were 123rd in the country in 10 plus yards allowed. And then we were right around 120 for 20 yards, 15 yards, 25 yards. It was bad. And as Pete B said, his quote was, "We didn't bend, but we did break," which I think might be the quote of the year. It was very, very funny from our guy Pete B.
I mean, that's surfacing levels of the Toby Lawal quote.
Yes.
We were supposed to be ass, and we were still ass, but not as we thought would be.
Yes. That is some Hokie basketball lore. Speaking of know your foe, we played you guys in basketball in Charlotte a couple years ago. We did lose. That sucked.
It was tough. Number two, that guy number two, their big man down low.
It was like the best game he had his entire life, which is usually how it goes for us. Sam Sifkes is our new defensive coordinator. He was the DC at Wofford. Sifkes, sorry. Shout out to our guy, Kenny Barnes, who is the DC at Wofford. He also spent time with the Minnesota Vikings and the Arizona Cardinals. He might be a genius. If you just Google him, Sam Sifkes, he looks like he would be a genius. And I mean this with all due respect. Like, he's got these massive eyes. He looks like he literally bathes in like double espresso. And it's got a little thinning of the hair. It looks like he stares at film all day. Like, I am in on Sam Sifkes. So I couldn't tell you much about what our defense is going to look like. I know that guy is probably got some tricks up his sleeve.
Talk about a guy that we just need to have on the pod soon. I mean, look at this legend.
You're telling me that guy doesn't know how to dial it up on 3rd and 6?
Like, you're telling me this guy can't read Lenore Sellers' mind? I call BS.
Sam Sifkes, let's go. Key departures for the Hokies: Antoine Powell-Ryland. He went to the Eagles in the 6th round. Dorian Strong, Bills in the 6th round. Aeneas Peoples. Who?
APR got cut. I don't know if you saw.
He did. He got cut today. Aeneas Peoples to the Ravens in the 6th round. Mansour D. Lane transferred to LSU. So those are the key departures. As far as newcomers, Ben Bell, James Joncom, Arias Nash, Emmanuel Hickman on the defensive line. Defensive back, Tyson Flowers, Jordan Bass, Isaiah Cash, Bass and Cash, Gerard Koval, and Isaiah Brown Murray, IBM. So if you were listening, there is a ton of new. And that's why this game is so hard to pin down, because you can talk yourself into some of these pieces meshing, and then you're like, okay, the defense is better. And then you could also be like, man, there's a lot of new, there's a lot of unproven. I don't really know what to think of the Hokies, and both are completely fair.
Who are these guys?
Yeah, who are these guys?
Obviously, they have some college football under their belt, but this could be the best team in the conference. Like, we don't know. Sam Sifkes could be looking at Jordan Bass and saying, this is everything I've ever wanted.
Yes. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting. For questions we will have answered, I just put down, will the linebacker play improve? Because it was awful. It was awful last year. And I'll tell you what, I don't think it was a talent problem. I think it was an alignment problem. I'll leave it at that. So we will see. We will see. South Carolina, talk to me about that.
It's really hard to talk about this South Carolina team without talking about their next Jadeveon Clowney. I mean, this guy is the talk of the town, the talk of the SEC, the talk of the draft board. Dylan Stewart, sophomore, edge rusher, 6'5", 245. A DC guy, Friendship Academy.
Lost. Just to let you know, the Mitchell boys are 3-0 against Friendship Academy, in case anybody was wondering. Which they weren't, but we were.
Sure, there were no friendships on the field that day. 6.5 sacks last year from Dylan Stewart. Billy Ray put in the notes here how he dominated the ODU game. 2 forced fumbles, 2.5 sacks. PFF released its list of college football's top 50 players, and Dylan Stewart slotted in at number 9 on this list. They're calling him the most athletic edge rusher since Jadeveon Clowney.
Wow.
And also has the upside of becoming a number 1 overall pick. So this is like, we've had one of those. His name is Bruce Smith. Has the most sacks in NFL history. Big Buffalo Bills guy. On the sideline in every game in Blacksburg. This is their equivalent. 91.4 PFF pass rush grade last year, just as a true freshman. which was sixth among all edge rushers. He had 51 pressures last year, which was second most among returning Power 4 rushers. And he's making a ton of preseason All-American squads. So a lot of hype on this guy. For every bit of hype that Dylan Stewart has gotten, or that Lenore Sellers has gotten on the offense, Dylan Stewart is getting on the defense. He was one of the cover athletes for NCAA football for EA Sports this year as well. So he is that dude. He is the guy to watch every single down when the Hokies are on offense, making sure that we can keep him out of the backfield.
I will certainly be watching him every play, but here's the zag to that. South Carolina lost 3 guys on their defensive line to the draft, and one of them was Kyle Kennard. He was the SEC Player of the Year. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Dylan Stewart plays when he is now 100% the focal point. It's almost like being one of 3 good wide receivers on a team, and then 2 of them leave, and then you're no longer kind of like the only guy that, one of a couple of guys that they need to worry about. So I'm interested to see Dylan Stewart, who, taking nothing away from his incredible season last year, but he will certainly be getting more attention. The other guy that I wanted to highlight is Jalen Kilgore. He's an absolute dude, 6'1", 211, out of Eatonton, Georgia. Pretty funny. Pretty funny. I think Brett Belima and Charlie Weiss are from Eatonton, Georgia. I'm sorry. It's good to know. I'm sorry. He had 5 interceptions. I know. I've had a couple of years where I was from Eatonton. He had 5 picks last year. He's a second-team All-SEC player. Their biggest question mark is absolutely their front 7. There's a lot of new. Got a player drafted, and their linebacking core. They had 3 D linemen drafted. So, I mean, I really got Pat on that one. That is their biggest question mark, is that front 7. So,
wow.
So
who knew all of Charlie Weiss would just spiral the jokes on this pod? We are so back.
What would the odds have been? Special teams. I got to tell you, when this game was on the schedule 2 years ago, I wasn't like, dude, we're totally going to just take Shane to school on the special teams talent that we have on this team. And that's literally what's happening. John Love is probably the best kicker in the conference. We did not let him kick enough last year. This is Virginia Tech's kicker, by the way. Sorry, this is a poor transition on my part. He was 6 of 18 on the year. He was 5 of 5 from 40 to 49 yards and 3 of 4 from 50 plus. He hit a 57-yarder versus Miami and a 60-yarder in the Mayo Bowl. It was without a doubt the highlight of the Mayo Bowl. Tucker Holloway.
Yeah, dude, he is an awesome kicker. Like, that was read a little bit too monotone, reading from the script. Let's show some love for our guy, John, dude. He was blasting 55 plus consistently.
Yeah, that's a fact. He was pounding footballs through the uprights, 57 and 60. Get this guy on a roster when he's done with us this year. Tucker Holloway is also back. He redshirted in 2024 after getting hurt. In 2023, he averaged 12.9 yards per return, which is good for 7th in the country. I love this guy. He is a natural-born leader, and I'm so excited to have him back. You know what? To hell with it, Pat. Who else is on our special team trio?
First of all, we still have another year of Kyle Lowe doing the kickoff duties. We'd be remiss to say, Peter Moore, we will miss you.
Pour one out, dude.
Peter, I hope we can get Peter at a tailgate. Hope to see him in Blacksburg. I'm sure, as one does their first few years out, I'm sure we'll see him at some of the games. Nick Veltsistas, my guy, is going to be our starting punter in 2025. He's wearing number 95, 6'2". He's from Northern Virginia. I'm excited to see what he can do. He's been learning from Peter the last few years. Nick Veltsistas. We've had quite a pipeline of punters. It seemed like it was AJ Hughes to Oscar Bradburn. I don't know if there was there anyone in between them?
Oh, dude, Mitchell Ludwig, my man.
Mitchell Ludwig.
AJ
And
Hughes.
then,
Let me see if I can do this. Mitchell Hughes. AJ Hughes, Mitchell Ludwig, Oscar Bradburn. Oh my goodness. Was it Peter Moore then?
yeah, we got 4 years of Oscar and
That's
4 years of Peter.
crazy. Yeah, we've had some serious consistency.
Actually,
fourth
we
down
might have
quarterback.
gotten 5. We might have gotten 5 years of Oscar with the COVID year.
Yeah, because we did the
So-
Last Dance graphic, dude.
Nick is a redshirt senior, so it will be a short-lived ride here with Nick, but I'm excited for it. Number 95, South Carolina. What's the deal over there? They don't really know what they're doing.
Here's the quote. Here's the quote from Shane's mouth to your ears. I don't think in all my years of coaching I have ever been part of a team where you have to replace literally every key special teams component from the year before. Our punter, kicker, long snapper, holder, kickoff returner, and punt returner are all going to be new. Wow. Imagine having to get a new cable, Wi-Fi, phone, and home security system in one off season. That's basically what Shane's going through. Sounds awful. So hopefully they're all Metro PCS when it comes to what the replacements will be. But we'll see. We'll see. That was a little Metro PCS slight. They are not a sponsor, but they could be. So that is the scoop on South Carolina and Virginia Tech as it pertains to offense, defense, special teams, and like team history. We just gave you a whole bunch. You're welcome.
Shake them. Shake them if you got them.
Dave Phillips, keys to the game. Look, the real estate market is hot, right? And there's no better time to get involved. And subject matter expert, that's not me. That's not Pat. If you're listening to this, it's probably not you either. Let's be completely honest. Let's this is a safe space. Let's be honest. Probably not you. If you are buying or you are selling or you just want to learn more about the space in the New River Valley, David Phillips has been a supporter of this podcast for a long time. He has been a friend for a longer time than he has supported this podcast. And he is who we would personally recommend for you to take on that journey. If you're looking to buy, sell, or learn more, shoot us an email, shoot us a DM, shoot us a text, call us, whatever. We will put you in touch. We are working on a very nice, let me see. We're working on something that would make it worth everybody's while to go ahead and do some business with Dave. But in all seriousness, Dave's the man. And Blacksburg Real Estate, whether you're getting in or getting out, he will take care of you, and he knows it better than anybody. So personally recommend him, and he is great. Here are the keys to this football game. And I think Ty Hildebrandt put it perfectly. If you haven't listened to that, go back and listen to it. It was great. Sunday, muddy Sunday. The more time that our offense is on the football field, the less time that Lenora Sellers is on the football field. And I think that's what we need to do. I think that you need to muddy this game up. You need to keep the score low, and can't turn, you can say all this stuff. You can't turn the ball over. You gotta make sure that you turn them over. You gotta win this, you win that. I think you just got to make this game disgusting, and we'll see what the team looks like. Anything can happen in week one. I think this is one of the more entertaining and weird week one games. So I definitely don't want it to look like Kansas State and Iowa State. That's not what I mean by muddy it up. That was hideous. But I think that's what we need to do.
Score away from offense. This is one of those games where a defensive or special team score, reverse Beamer ball in a game against Shane Beamer, where he's like, dude, I don't even know if I have to pick this guy up off the street and have him kick field goals for us. It's like the Sugar Bowl all over again.
Yep.
You had like Danny Cole kicking field goals. Make sure that Virginia Tech is running the football. I think that's like what we say every single time we get on here. Virginia Tech needs to run the football. Terrian Stewart, is he the guy? Is Jeremiah Coney going to get some good burn on this kickoff game on Sunday? We're going to say PJ Prelo. Who are getting most of the carries in that first and second quarter and then down the stretch as well, so we can open up the passing game for Kyron Jones. And it's also just like plain and simple, if Kyron Jones has a good game, like we have a very good chance of winning the football game.
Yes.
Like that's kind of what this
Jones
boils down to, Billy. It's like, hey,
yeah,
Kyron Jones was hurt most of last year. We lost a lot of games. We lost games when he didn't play. We lost some games when he played hurt. If he's 100% going into Sunday, I feel good about us competing in this football game.
I have not said this, I don't think, in the entire time that we've done this podcast, but I feel very confidently in it. I think the best version of Kyron Jones is one of, if not the best quarterback in the ACC. People will scoff at that. People will laugh at that. Go back and watch the Miami game. Go back and watch the Stanford game. Go back and watch Boston College from 2 years ago, Syracuse from 2 years ago. We haven't had a really healthy him. And when he has been healthy, he's had a bad offensive line and an unreliable wide receiver room. And I think we have a better offensive coordinator. So I'm really high on Kyron. I'll give you one more key to the game. This one might make you throw up. We've talked a lot about clock management and how bad clock management was last year. And it was a disaster. It was pretty awful. But can Virginia Tech, more importantly, avoid the disaster stretches? Like when I think of moments like this, I think of like just dying of, on the cusp of heat stroke in Vanderbilt and looking over at Bryce and his face is covered in sweat and just zero emotion on his face. And it's like, dude, what? These last 7 minutes have been objectively awful. And that happened so many times last year. I'm just going to run down some of them that I picked out. Versus Vanderbilt, outscored 17-3 in the first half. Versus Old Dominion, who gave both of us trouble, South Carolina and Virginia Tech, outscored 10-0 in the second quarter. Versus Rutgers, 14-0 in the first quarter. Boston College, 21-0 in the third quarter. That was very scary. Syracuse outscored 35-17 in the fourth quarter in overtime. And then Clemson outscored 24-7 in the second half. Blah.
Wow, Chris Daughtry was singing "It's Not Over" throughout like all of those. I can't believe Syracuse outscored us 35-17 in fourth quarter and overtime.
It was awful.
So heinous. I hate that you just did that.
Yeah, no, it was tough for sure. I mean,
I don't want to be broken at all this year. Like I don't want to break. I like Rutgers. That game broke some parts of me last year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to make this about me, but I think I can speak for.
I think you can. And Rutgers was definitely not the only time you were broken.
Yeah. 2024, like that, we just gotta bury it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Bury it. Don't do any of that. That's 6 games Billy Ray just mentioned. That's 6 disaster stretches in one season.
Yeah.
That's where Coach Ferg is gonna earn his paychecks. Right here.
For those of you who don't know who that is, Coach Ferg is our new strength and conditioning coach. We do think he's going to make a difference. He was the strength and conditioning coach at Virginia Tech when I was there, and all reviews out of Blacksburg have been overwhelmingly positive about his impact on the team. So
shout out Coach Ferg. Shout out Matt Moore. I'm sure we're going to get a lot more out of our guys up front this year than in previous years. I don't want to stamp that yet.
No, I was laughing because I was just saying no, I agree with you, but I was laughing because I was saying like South Carolina's probably listening to the last 7 minutes of this and they're like, wow, you guys suck. And we did last year. We certainly did suck without a doubt. But that doesn't mean that we can't come back and be better this year. How about that for some inspiration? Okay. Before we get to our score prediction, I do want to mention 2 quick things. We do have our 2 events going on. We have our Saturday night party, which is at Piedmont Park at Park Tavern. That is from 3 to 6. And then following that, we have live music. Coach Foster will be there. There will be a bar tab. It's going to be fantastic. We're really looking forward to that. That is sponsored by Spalding Equipment. Thank you for making that happen. And then also sponsored by the Lunch Pail Defense Foundation. So Coach Foster will be there. Tickets are online. They're on our Twitter. They will be in this video as well. Check it out in the comments. Like the video when you're on your way there. And then lastly, I do want to shout out our...
You want to just confirm if you are on that bar tab, if you are on our tab from 3 to 6, That's what you're buying the ticket for. So
yes, correct. Thank
if
you.
you're coming after 6 o'clock, you just come in.
Yeah.
The bar tab is what the tickets are for. So we have
Correct.
a tab set up specific to this party.
Correct. Good delineation there. And then lastly, I also want to mention, so these tickets go off sale after tomorrow, which is Wednesday, August 27th. We have a tailgate event. It is 10 minutes away from the stadium. It is at Der Biergarten, and it is brought to you by Mehul Sangani and TechStream. I got to tell you, I cannot thank TechStream and Mehul for making this happen enough. So the details are, it is from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock, unlimited food, unlimited beverage, 10-minute walk to the stadium. I actually, with all due respect, promise you won't find a better situation than that situation. You will not. Pat, talk to us about our friends over at TechStream. And shout out to my guy, Mark and Judd. You guys rock.
Judd, happy birthday. TechStream is Atlanta and DC based, servicing multiple clients nationally with strong commercial, federal, and SLED experience, offering digital resiliency services with specific expertise in cloud and AWS, Oracle, and cybersecurity, including migrations, installs, 24/7 MDR support, and product alignment with Splunk and Cloudflare. In addition, TechStream offers talent advisement, including traditional staff augmentation in close collaboration with our consulting and strategic sourcing and outsourcing for RPO. TechStream has 14 years of experience supporting commercial and federal hiring, including intelligence and classified communities, DoD, civilian, and healthcare. With hundreds of technology deployments and staffing under our belt, we can guarantee on-time and on-budget project delivery. That's why 98% of TechStream clients are repeat customers. Awards included Inc. 500, Inc. 5000, fastest growing company 7 years in a row, and best places to work recognition at the regional and national levels. We appreciate being part of and supporting Hokie Nation and look forward to hosting you in Atlanta this weekend. So shout out to our friends at TechStream. Again, if you're DC or Atlanta based and have those commercial, federal, and SLED ties, hit up our friends at TechStream today. That's spelled TEKSTREAM, TechStream.
Score prediction time. Before I give my numbers, I want to say this. The Hokies absolutely have a chance to win this football game if they follow the goals and guidance that we outlined over the course of this podcast. Anything can happen. There's a ton of new. We have new coordinators. Now, at first, I thought that this game was going to look a lot like the last time we played in Atlanta. The last time we played in Atlanta, we played against Alabama. We came out, didn't punch Alabama in the face, but we kind of shocked Alabama. It was 14-7 at the end of the first quarter. And it was one of those games where you weren't blown out. There were some good things to build on, but Alabama was comfortably winning the game from like mid-second quarter on, right? You were always in striking distance, but you never were feeling frosty. And that's kind of how I felt about this football game. But here's what I settled on. I really think this is razor thin. I think they're so new. I think so much is changing. I'm not going to come out and predict Virginia Tech to win because I feel like that would be silly. And I've been doing that every year, almost every game for the last 7 years. And maybe I can reverse jinx the hoax. So I'm going to go with Virginia Tech 31, South Carolina 35. But I do want to leave this game with this. This is a winnable game. To act like we are going out there to slaughter is crazy to me. I think the two most overrated teams in terms of where they are ranked are South Carolina and Michigan. I think South Carolina has a chance to be very good. I think having them at, I believe they're 13th, is a little crazy given the departures they have and the question marks they have on their roster. So I will go 35-31, South Carolina.
First off, I want to say that I hope it's not anything like that 2013 Alabama game. Last time we played in a pro stadium in the state of Georgia. I saw Virginia Tech play 3 games in the Georgia Dome, that 2006 Chick-fil-A Bowl, 2009 Alabama game, and the 2013 Alabama game. And we were much more competitive in those first two games, the Georgia and Alabama game. I hope this game is a lot more like the 2009 Alabama game. Had the lead going into the fourth quarter. Felt good about the season going into next week. And then we reeled off some wins against Nebraska, beat Miami, crushed Miami actually at home in a hurricane. This 2013 game, they scored on a punt return, an interception return, and a kick return against Virginia Tech, which just gave us so many concerns about, do we have any discipline anywhere? The fact that we're letting them score in all three phases of the game on us. We actually had more total yards on offense than Alabama did that day. I think this could be, it's very similar to you. I don't think Virginia Tech wins this football game. I think it's a lot like that 2009 version. 34-24 type game. We get some points on the board. I think South Carolina wins this game. I'll go 34-27. So Virginia Tech covers. Virginia Tech has something to look forward to going into week 2 against Vanderbilt. And again, Coach Beamer used to always say, you learn the most about your football team from week 1 to week 2. So still will be a lot to learn after this game in Atlanta. I'm hoping for the best for Virginia Tech, but I think South Carolina wins by a touchdown.
Wrapping this one up, Grant Watson, not mad, just disappointed. No over-unders to do this week. But we're shaking the rust off. It's been a long off-season. We also have no letters from the lunch pail, except for Steve Bryce, which is pretty funny. If you went back in time and you would tell me that Steve Bryce was the only one who wrote in a letter from the lunch pail, I'd be pretty surprised. Shout out to Steve Bryce. We've had quite a we've gotten close over the years. I've enjoyed our story. Love story, if you want to quote Taylor Swift. So, Pat, before the season starts, I want to do a record prediction. I want to do what's on your futures betting card before we log off here. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I know you have a slew of futures. I have 0 bets placed right now.
Okay, that's fine.
I do have a future on Arch Manning to win the Heisman Trophy. I know that's not an original take. I think if you want to throw some money around when it has to do with the Heisman Trophy this year, I think Arch Manning is like the perfect guy to root for. I mean, he is a descendant of Eli, Peyton, Cooper, Archie. Says the right things, does the right things.
Team's going to be pretty good.
Can we see him do it on the field? Should have a stable of talent on both sides of the ball. Should be a lot of fun to watch and should be fun to root for. Him or Cade Klubnik. Now, I don't think Cade Klubnik is Heisman Trophy worthy, but
you don't think he's Heisman Trophy worthy? He's probably top 5 in odds. You should take a look at the odds.
That is not what I meant to say.
Oh,
it's getting late over here in the Upper East Side. That is not what I meant to say. I love Cade Klubnik, and I hope
too.
I love both.
I can't wait. I can't wait for you to be on a Cade Klubnik Heisman Trophy presentation highlight clip. It's going to be so awesome. On the subject of future bets, I have Navy over 8.5 because Blake Horvath. I have Tennessee under 8.5 because of Nico Iamaleava. I have Nebraska over 7.5 because they don't play Oregon or Ohio State. I have USC over 7.5 because Lincoln Riley needs to win some games, and Duke over 6.5 because it is the most disrespectful line that there is in all of college football futures betting. Pat, I would like to
on Duke to beat Illinois. What is it, week 2? Week 3?
Okay.
Isn't that your play? Okay. That's your big game. You're going to be there.
It is certainly a big game, and I think that Duke absolutely has a chance to win. I don't know who I would bet on, though, but I would put my non-existent mortgage on Duke winning over 6.5 games. What is your record prediction for the Hokies?
Oh, man, this is so tough. I mean, actually, you know what? It's not tough, okay? We have too much data to pull from right now. Like it's anything above 6-6 for me would be a fool to say. Go out and prove it. But right now I'm saying Virginia Tech goes 6-6. I hate saying it, but that's go out and change some things. I'm excited to see what our new staffers are able to do out there. I'm excited to see what Coach Ferg is able to influence. I'm excited to see some of the new talent on Virginia Tech, but I have no data or reason to believe that we can't or we will exceed, the 7 or 8 win mark this year.
No problem with the prediction or the rationale. Before we sign off, I want to shout out a musical artist that my father put me onto. And he has a song called Everybody Plays the Fool. Everybody plays the fool sometimes. And that's going to be me. I'm going to play the fool. I'm going with 8-4. Virginia Tech has to go 3-1 in September. If Virginia Tech is 2-2 in September, heads are going to roll, and they're going to roll in November. And I'm looking at this as if you do what you have to do to keep your job, which is go 3-1 in the month of September. And why I'm saying that, South Carolina fans, we play Wofford, Old Dominion, Vanderbilt, and South Carolina. With all due respect to the SEC, Virginia Tech cannot lose to Vanderbilt 2 years in a row and start 0-2.
We also played NC State on the 20th.
We also do play NC State.
So, yeah, we have an August game. We got one game in August. We got to remember.
You're right. Thank you. So we need to start 3-1. If you start 3-1 and you win where you should, you can also upset one of Miami, Florida State, Louisville, and Georgia Tech. So I'm going to go with 8-4 because 8-4 and 7-5, you're probably keeping your job, more than likely keeping your job. If it's a 6-6, Pat, I think we're hitting the eject button. I think that is I think that is reality. So again, I think Pete B and I are the only ones living on this island. I'm willing to play the fool. I think this is a winnable game for Virginia Tech coming up here. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody in Atlanta. I'm also looking forward to seeing you, my friend. And it was great to get on here and do a pod. It's been a long time. Hour and a half, feature film. Let's go. We are back.
Please, please, please compete on Sunday.
Yes.
And please, it's not impossible to go 2-0.
It's not.
In these next 2 weeks.
No.
The track record shows Coach Pry is 6-9 before October 1st in 3 years. So the data is not looking good. However, the feeling is good. That's what we hear in the pressers. That's what we hear in the interviews. That's what we're hearing from the players. And I do think the staff has a leg up on previous staffs. So I am cautiously optimistic. I would love nothing more to get up here on Monday and talk about a victory. The last thing I will say, I just thought this was funny. I just saw it on Twitter. Marco Rubio today asked the president to issue an executive order to stop people from getting married on Saturdays during college football season, which is probably something we could all get behind. It's a shame. As I will be missing the Vanderbilt game because of a wedding in Virginia and missing the NC State game because of a wedding in North Carolina.
Yeah. It's a shame Lindsey Graham couldn't have thought of that because maybe he would have had more fans. Tell you what, some unexpected shade for Lindsey Graham. People don't like Lindsey Graham, but Charlie Weiss didn't deserve that. And Brett Bielema certainly didn't deserve that. And they caught a lot of...
You did.
Yeah, I know. It was funny, though. Anyway, I was going to sign off with one of the inappropriate bowl terms for this bowl game. If you're still listening, comment the most inappropriate name tagline for this game in the comments. I want to laugh at them. There's some good ones. But we're looking forward to it. We will have more to talk about our team when we know more about it after we watch them play a football game with the two new coordinators. Please please subscribe. We will be bringing college football action to you all football season long. Check us out on Twitter. Check us out on Instagram. Check us out on Facebook and LinkedIn. We do have a LinkedIn. Pat, it was so good to do this again. Looking forward to it. And go Hokies.
I'll give you a big hug. Give you a big hug on Friday, and tell Frankie he did great in the background of your StreamYard call tonight.
Oh, he's such a handsome boy. I need to give him some water. Good night, everybody. Go Hokies!